According to Sputnik Africa, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said that Kiev, unable to defeat Russia on the battlefield, had decided to open a second front in Africa by supporting terrorist groups in African states allied with Moscow. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the Central African Republic Defense Minister, Kiev regime's training of terrorists in Africa is outrageous and indefensible. According to the Central African Republic Authority, their territory is properly secured, but terrorists trained by Kiev regime could enter Central African Republic through neighboring countries. They actually received this critical information from their neighbors, and they've been taking the necessary measure to be able to build enough capability to be able to counter the intention of the West. According to them, they said they received operational information about this plan of the Kiev regime from their neighbors, and they are paying close attention to it. But ladies and gentlemen, this whole terrorism, this old terror group we're talking about here, that is planning, according to the information we got from anonymous sources, they said this group are affiliated with Al-Qaeda. But again, is it just about Kiev, or is it about the entire West? But without no further ado, let us look at the answer that one of the most intelligent African leader gave to one of the, Western journalists that actually, had a session with him, what he had to say about the so-called Al-Qaeda. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the interview of Muammar Gaddafi. Let's watch this video.
How about Al-Qaeda?
القاعدة وين هي؟
Where is القاعدة؟
القاعدة هنا في نيويورك.
القاعدة is here in New York.
من هو بن لادن؟
Who is he, Bin Laden?
He committed a heinous act.
هو بن لادن عملها.
Bin Laden made this heinous act.
You don't think what Osama bin Laden did was wrong?
هل هو كان في إحدى الطائرات اللي ضربت الأبراج؟
Was he on board one of those aircraft
No.
that hit the tower?
But he took credit for sending them.
لا هذا شيء ثاني لكن.
This is another thing.
ما أعتقدش الآن بين يدينا حكم قانوني ضد بن لادن بهالخصوص.
I don't think that in front of us we have a court sentence vis-a-vis Bin Laden or in this regard. الإرهابيين اللي ضربوا نيويورك ما هوش أفغان. The terrorists who hit New York are not from Afghan. They're not Afghani.
ما طلعوش من الطائرات من أفغانستان أو من العراق.
They did not use the airplanes or take off from Iraq or Afghanistan by airplanes.
طلعوا من مطار كندي هنا.
They flew from JFK airport here in New York.
وهو العمل كله حصل داخل أمريكا.
The whole action was done here.
وتدربوا هنا في أمريكا.
They were trained here.
لم يتدربوا في العراق. ولم يتدربوا في أفغانستان.
They did not train, or they were not trained in Iraq or in Afghan.
Oh, okay. We'll be right back.
You can see that the whole JNIM, whatever group that they are talking about, is still related to one country alone. That is the West. I think the era of manipulation is over. We're in the era of enlightenment, and if you are not facing this, it means you are still a puppet. It means you don't have sovereignty. It means you are getting the carrot, and if you get out of line, you're going to get the sticks. But either you like it or not, Niger Republic, Mali, Burkina Faso, Central African Republic, Madagascar, Congo, they are already doing their thing, because now they can tell you what true sovereignty means. They know it means blood, it means sweat, it means tears, but above all, it means honor till the very end. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the next information we have for you, according to General Abdurrahman Chiani of Niger Republic, Niger has the legitimate right to manage its own resources and in accordance with the laws of the market, sell them independently to those who wish to buy them, he said. This right is not subjected to debate, whether our enemy likes it or not, the president emphasized. Furthermore, he announced that the country will now supply its own products to the international market after the nationalization of the Somé mine. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know why France is angry. You know why France is crashing. You know why they are itching. At the end of the day, the president of Niger and the Nigerian people have said what they have to say. They actually got this sovereignty through blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm very, very happy for the Nigerian people for the fact that, they live in this time. If you are a Nigerian and you are living in this time, this lifetime of your lifetime, you have to really, really appreciate God because, for one to witness this moment in the history of Niger, I can't imagine that a country with this enormous level of wealth and blessing from the Most High could have gone through, the years of servitude, the years of struggle and pain that this outlaw nations had made them go through. But now they are standing 10 toes on the pavement and they are walking with their integrity on their sleeves. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what a sovereign nation posture like. This is the energy they radiate when they appear on the global stage. But ladies and gentlemen, let us listen to the audio recording of that address this aggression from Orano and the country they represent. Let's listen to this.
For a few days, a certain foreign press, a crocodile statement from a company no longer operating in Niger demands claims and criticizes the management of Niger's uranium. Our wealth plundered for more than half a century, that Niger can no longer manage the stock, that the stock is not secure, that this same stock does not belong to the state of Niger. On an in-depth tour of the country, a close visit, the President of the Republic, General Tiani, in front of the Sumair miner, recalled the sovereignty of Niger, the legitimate right of Niger to dispose of its natural resources, to sell them to whoever wishes to buy, according to market rules, with full independence, a non-negotiable sovereignty regardless of the detractors. Niger, dignified but on the international market, its own production. Everything that attracts the wrath of the imperialists who themselves refer to Great Russia to sell and make available to it a significant quantity of Niger's uranium for refining. Legitimate imperialist act, Nigerian legitimacy trampled, that Niger must not sell its product, must not benefit from the returns under the pretext of unsecured financial flows and threatened assets while Arlit, submerged by radioactive waste, expose its aquifers to the wind, its poisoned livestock, and its disfigured environment. A population without hope before July 26, 2023, wounded due to a mining holdup of the century, but Niger stands tall, firm in its boots, forward with sovereignty, forward with prosperity.
So you can see Abdurrahman Chiani has spoken and the Nigerian people have accepted. So the intention of France, the will and the opinion of France does not matter because, the territorial landscape or land surface area of France does not extend to Africa. Matter of fact, Niger, as Mali and Burkina Faso, they are now the new identity of multipolarism in Africa. And you should just know why a lot of other countries just hate them, because what these people are doing in their country is absolutely unbelievable. But again, let me tell you this, right? They are beginning to feel the impact of their decision making. Niger sold uranium yesterday, right? There was a massive attack today. Andre is here. They will continue to hide this information, but I am here to give you. So my people, After all this that you've heard, the JNIM attacked a Nigerian outpost heavily. Ladies and gentlemen, without no further adulation, let's watch this video.
Allahu Akbar, ngarma wurgi. Allahu Akbar, ngarma wurgi. What the other yatti? What the other yatti? Allahu Akbar, ngarma wurgi. Allah malla dan ba da mutum kuma da aiki ne ji an kuki ya wallahi mun ga mutum ne ne wow ai ta gari wai mutum an yi azar da wannan azar da tara gojin bas kai ba da wuri wannan azar da wuri kada da teliyo hey hey anu atu ile wiacho tatara yao Allahu Akbar walga wurta
So this was a heavy attack. In fact, according to the information, they said over 300 terrorists. Now I have to explain to you, a lot of people are confused about where these numbers are coming from. So this is how this terrorist militia, this is how they fight. So if they have a fight in a certain place, there is a call. You understand? There is like a call. So they all come together and they attack wherever they want to attack. After the operation, they always go back through different routes, and at some point, everybody go back to their theater of operations. Wherever they are, inflicting the damage there, they go back to where they are. So it's not as if these 300 are just a particular group in a certain location. No. These are, sometimes they even call some of their affiliates from other countries to come and join them to launch a single attack. That is why you see them. But according to the information we had, this exchange lasted for over 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, the calculus of this combat was judged in a very devastating fashion when the Aksongo drone, stepped in. But before the Aksongo drone stepped in, you can see with so much firepower that they had, the precision wasn't there. They came with the GPMGs, they came with the PKM rifle, they came with AK-103, whatever type of rifle capability you can talk about, they were these guys have too many supply. Some of them were firing from, guns that were mounted on vehicles, vehicle-borne mounted guns and all of that. They came with even captured gun trucks, that they captured from, I don't know, God knows where. They shot RPGs. According to the information we have, they shot more than 16 RPGs to blow up the defensive position of the Nigerian forces. But ladies and gentlemen, in this situation, the adrenaline goes so high to the point that nobody is scared of nobody in this type of situation. A lot of people, you are watching, you will be scared that, but these people, this is the moment they were born for. So the Nigerian armed forces stood their ground. It was a spurious exchange. And number 1 went down. And number 2 went down. And number 3 went down. And number 4 went down. Till they got to 60. Several injuries at this point. A lot of them were on the ground. Some were crushing. Then they started pulling back. Before they even pulled back. Now, when I say 60, those 60 were the ones that, were mortally devastated on close combat by the Nigerian ground infantry, forces. When the Aksongo drone came, Aksongo drone has 2 of the Aksongo drone TNT capabilities. It has a very serious blast radius and a very, very catastrophic level of damage it can incur to the enemy. So when it landed, the calculus changed completely. Those that got creased, they got creased completely. So, they started pulling back at that point. And while they were pulling back, more injuries were sustained. So when I found out from some of our sources, they said, these guys, when you find out what some of them use, from the interrogation they had with some that were captured a long time ago, they said some of them use opium. They use a lot of drugs that makes them numb to pain. That is why you see that some of them, when they get shot, they feel the pressure. But if it's not at the point that can actually, knock them out of balance, they will still struggle to escape. Even though if the bleeding now goes south. And according to what we heard, that some of them even knows what to do when they get hit. They can tie the tourniquet. They can do what they have to do to get themselves to where, it can be managed and stuff like that. And they know how to prepare local portions that can actually, limit the level of hemorrhage and all of that. But the Nigerian armed forces stood out on top. Now, let me tell you this. It was not just that the Nigerian armed forces came out on top. It is the fact that when you see the way the Nigerian armed forces left the victims, after devastating them, they now came close to them. They now, they did what they did. And, they were actually knocked out. They were beaten. And it was really, really a painful defeat for the terrorists. So big one for the Nigerian armed forces. Too many damage at this point. And more wins to the Nigerian army, more defeat to the JNI. So Yoruba used to say, Ajekela no mokuleni. You understand what I mean? It means that the witch cried yesterday. The child died today. That always means something. There is an affiliation. So France cried out about the uranium yesterday. and today the JNIM attack. But unfortunately for the crybabies, they took the defeat like never before. So beautiful. And that is why I'm here. They will continue to hide it, but I will continue to bring it. So ladies and gentlemen, let us move to the next strategic information, because the Sudanese army are now doing a lot of devastating work on the RSF. From the information we received, the RSF position in Kordofan has been taking enormous level of damage recently. A lot of countries have been, now supporting the Sudanese army, Russia included. And currently, the RSF is taking so much damage.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Double phone! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! تحقون! تحقون! Allahu Akbar! 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 Double phone! Allahu Akbar! أمني يا جن! الله أكبر! روني يا رسول الله! نحن الآن من الدم العباسية! الله أكبر! دم مدفعون! دم مدفعون! وذخيرته! الله أكبر! الله أكبر! عليه! ندعوكم ما سنة! ندعوكم ما سنة كاملة! الله أكبر! الله أكبر! الله أكبر! الله أكبر! الله أكبر! لا.
Ladies and gentlemen, now you can see this video, you can see the positions of the RSF that got blown out, and they just continue to beat down the RSF and all of that. So right now, the Sudanese army, they are not giving up. The RSF, even if the morale in the RSF camp is down, they continue to fight. So let's see, at the end of the day, what I want to know is that, what I want to hear is that Sudan will be completely liberated from the hand of the oppressors.
يوم 30 يوم 30 11 2025 الدامرة جوا الدامرة نظيفة الدامرة نظيفة 30 11 الدامرة نظيفة الدامرة حرة الدامرة حرة الدامرة خشنة الظلم ايوه الدامرة خشنة الظلم.
So, and again, in another episode, the Sudanese armed forces continue to use the drone capability to drop a lot of bombs on the RSF.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahumma shaddid ar-ram, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Ladies and gentlemen, could this mark the beginning of the end for the RSF? But let us wait and see. So again, in another very, very funny scenario, the Tuaregs, I don't know which country they were trying to celebrate again. Ladies and gentlemen, the festive season turned sour when one of the Tuareg was trying to shoot. And ladies and gentlemen, what happened in the last video happened again this time around. I don't know. You know, this is the current situation of what some people are trying to turn our continent into. You know, too many harms, too many, in the wrong hands, because this could have been avoided. It could have been mended. It shouldn't have happened. Just shot, and it was actually a woman that he shot. And as I speak to you, the woman has actually, you know what I'm trying to say, but rest in peace to the woman that got shot. But I think this type of situation should now be properly addressed in some of these nations, most especially the Tuaregs. They should be addressed. I don't think these people really have what it takes to handle a rifle, because this is the second time consecutively within a week, and it's always happening in a festive environment. So I think based on what we have seen so far, so good, I think they should stop this. It's enough killing, enough terrorism. So that's what I can say. So now in Burkina Faso, ladies and gentlemen, a tremendous information has just come out, and this has a relationship with Mali. Last week it was Niger Republic that supplied a very huge fuel to Mali.
Aux environs des 12 heures, temps universel, que les 82 camions citernes d'hydrocarbures convoyés par les forces de défense et de sécurité unifiées de l'AES sont arrivés à Bamako à bord de pick-up, de blindés et de motos après avoir parcouru 1000.
Just to make sure they show that solidarity of oneness in their brotherhood. So this week, Burkina Faso have actually done it again. And this time around, they sent the Burkinabean forces to escort. And also, the Dozo militia were the ones that actually drove the vehicles. And, they were in a very great mood. They were very happy. And I know the Malian people appreciate this. And this is a very fantastic information. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that it's a good time to be a member of the Alliance of Sahel. I doubt those tankers you are looking at right there, according to credible information, they said that's 200 fuel tankers. Mali, keep on enjoying yourselves. And, this is an escalation that surely, patiently, gradually, as long as we remain united and we continue to approach the military goal, definitely the territory of the Sahel will completely be liberated. And a lot of people will want to visit Mali. They want to know, and history will never forget the fight, the blood, sweat, and tears, and those that pay the ultimate price so that the people of the Sahel can be free. Aluta continua Victoria Santa. It's your boy 72 Android signing out in Offset. And this is how we say welcome to December. To all the Android community families all around the world, I want to say happy December. I appreciate you all for supporting us heavily in November. I mean, if not for you all, we don't know where we could have been in the month of November. Like, November was a month to remember. I really appreciate everyone in the Android community, the flavor blades, the cryptography. I mean, like a lot of juggernauts really showed an enormous level of support in the month of November. And we really appreciate it. It keeps us going. It keeps us running. Thank you, and God bless you. Shabbat.